It is a long journey for the leaves grown on this hilltop before they end up in your teapot or mug. But just as you depend on the caffeine in your tea to keep you going, countless pluckers and other workers rely on these leaves to put food on their tables. In Sri Lanka, tea is a lifeline for tens of thousands of families and the backbone of the nation. In this episode of Eat Drink Asia, we'll travel deep into Sri Lanka's tea country to discover the stories behind your cup of tea. My tea journey begins in the island nation's capital, Colombo. From stalls that sell tea to fish market workers in the morning, to trucks that offer spiced chai at midnight, you can find a cup of tea for sale almost anywhere and at any time of the day.
I'm here on a street side stall in Colombo. Now, it's full of little shops like this where busy drivers and people during the day come here for a break from their busy day. This is a standard cup of tea, and this is how you usually have it, with a piece of jaggery or keto jaggery, which is extracted from the fishtail palm, which is used to make treacle. Instead of putting the sugar into the tea, this is how you have it. You take a sip of tea, and then you take a small bite of sugar just to abate the bitterness. It's definitely sweeter than your usual sugar, much more full body on the palate, and has, of course, tones of toffee, a little bit of coffee, and a little bit of licorice, just like you expect from a treacle.
Sri Lanka is a former British colony and was formerly known as Ceylon, hence the name Ceylon tea. But where does this world-famous tea actually come from? To answer that question, I took a 4-hour car ride into Sri Lanka's tea country. At about 1,500 meters above sea level, Bogowantalawa is one of the best regions in Sri Lanka to grow tea. Locals call it the Golden Valley.
Dinesh, tell me why this area is called the Golden Valley and why it's so special.
Actually, the soil is very rich in nutrients that's perfect for the tea. And the tea produce like best quality tea in the world, and it makes a lot of money to this area. So that's the main reason that we call this area the Golden Valley. And also there's another name we call Bogowantalawa. So Bogo means the god, and the Talawa means like the valley or the land. So this is land of God.
Sri Lanka didn't always grow tea, did they?
Well, actually, before that, even we had coffee in this area, but all got destroyed by a fungus disease 150 years ago. Then the Scottish planters, they tried tea in Sri Lanka. So James Taylor is the first person who brought to tea in Sri Lanka. He planted his first tea in the Lower Kandur area, and then he got success. Then they planted tea everywhere in the country, mainly in the hillside.
Dinesh says there are very few pests or diseases in Sri Lanka that feed on tea leaves, making it one of the most desirable products to grow here. And how do these beautiful plants turn into a cup of tea? To find out, I'm visiting a local tea estate to meet a tea master with nearly 3 decades of experience in the industry.
Boudica, tell me, when is a tea leaf ready to be plucked?
So mainly in Sri Lanka, in a high-grown estate, they do the plucking every 5 days. So today, for example, if they pluck this field, again after 5 days only they come here. So normally when they do the plucking, they pluck the 2 leaves and the bud. So for example, like this, the 2 leaves and the bud.
So why don't you just get a combine just to come and take the tops off all the trees?
Yeah, that is the specialty in Sri Lanka. So mainly still we are kind of doing the hand picking. So when you do the hand picking, you can pluck the 2 leaves and a bud, you can selectively pluck. If you use a machine to pluck, it will cut, it is almost like cutting a hedge. Anything which comes up will be taken out. So when it goes through the manufacturing process, it gives you more fiber content because of these stems. More fiber means the quality comes down.
The ladies behind me are the tea pluckers of this plantation. It's a job mostly for women. The basket on their head, they carry up to 10 kilos. And to get their wages for the day, they need to pluck at least 20 kilos. Anything above that, they will get extra incentives. It takes about 2 to 3 hours for an experienced plucker to make a full basket, and maybe 4 hours at the longest.
After the leaves are carefully hand-plucked, they are withered overnight to lower the water content. Then these huge rolling machines gently break down the structure of the leaves. They are then slightly ground and left to ferment. This process is only necessary for fermented products like black tea or oolong tea. Green tea does not need to be fermented. After that, the tea is dried and sorted into different grades and levels of fineness. Technically, the tea is now ready to be consumed, but to turn it into the kind of product you normally see on supermarket shelves, there is one more crucial step: tasting. All these boxes contain tea leaf samples from different farms across the country. The samples are first roughly graded based on the size and shape of the tea leaf. Then tea masters will taste them. And I mean every single one of them. Burika told me that a tea master may taste up to 2,000 samples in a single day.
Now it's time for us to do the tasting. So how we do is, and then we spit it out. So with our experience, we understand as soon as you take the tea, slurp it in, we understand, okay, this goes to this standard, the other one goes to that standard, that kind of a thing. So it needs experience.
Of course. So how do you do it? Let me try.
Yes. Just slurp it in. Then let's throw it out. But you can do a trial, like so you just normal take the spoon and just drink the normal way how we kind of do.
Are you trying to get a lot of air on your palate
Yes,
as well?
that's right, yes.
Are there tasting notes like in wine where there'd be like, floral?
This is a little bit different. Yes, sometimes yes you get floral notes also, but mainly we kind of call as brightness. We first go for the cup color visually, then we kind of go for the brightness of the cup, whether there are any taints or kind of contamination with other material. So those kind of stuff we kind of mark on the catalogs.
The flavors of the tea can drastically change throughout the year, even if the leaves come from the same patch of land. This is why tea masters have to taste so many samples every day and adjust blends to ensure the cups you brew at home taste good all year round. Today, the tea industry accounts for 1/10 of all export products from Sri Lanka, and nearly 1 million people work directly or indirectly in the tea sector. In 2021, Sri Lanka tried to become the world's first fully organic, chemical-free country. Part of this plan involved an abrupt government ban on chemical fertilizers. But many farmers could not keep up with the sudden change, and tea yields started to plummet. This devastated the tea industry and the economy. It was one of the key factors that led to Sri Lanka's worst ever economic crisis. The fertilizer ban was revoked after 6 months, and the economy has now gradually recovered. But long-term issues in the tea industry, like the welfare of plantation workers and the upward mobility of young people in the tea estates, persist. Tea Leaf Trust is on a mission to alleviate that problem. The NGO provides educational programs for young people who live in tea estates.
Chan, tell me about the Tea Leaf Trust and what do you guys do around here?
So where we focus on providing free English education to the plantation youth. These people financially and emotionally face a lot of challenges. Even if they want to get higher education, they will have to go to Kandy or Colombo, but they don't have enough money to spend on all of their studies. So through that education, these people can develop themselves and then find a better job to look after their families.
Aside from language lessons, the school also teaches essential job skills like public speaking, business management, and computer basics. Chan also came from a family of tea estate workers and joined Tea Leaf Trust as a student in 2012.
I didn't have any English before I joined Tea Leaf. So now I'm talking to you in English. Giving my interview in English it's just because the public speaking subject that we teach. We also have partnerships with international schools around this community. Most of the English teachers in the international schools are our students. So we are very proud to say that our students are working as English teachers in most of the government schools and private sectors.
Nowadays, Sri Lanka's tea industry has evolved into a travel and leisure product. Here at the Bogowantalawa Valley, the Teardrop Hotel offers a variety of tea-themed experiences, like hiking in the plantations and canoeing in the valley. A highlight of most tours is a tea feast, featuring dishes made with local produce infused with all kinds of Sri Lankan tea. Chef Sumadu, you've prepared a 3-course tea-infused dinner. But tea leaves are very mild. I mean, when you accidentally, bite on a tea leaf when you have tea, it doesn't taste like much. How do you bring out the flavor?
We want to infuse the Sri Lankan tea to the food. So what we did, we mild and balanced the spices, the ingredients to bring up the tea flavor to the front. Locally, the people are having tea, only they are drinking. But what we want to bring some kind of new experience to our clients with the flavors of the tea.
For the starter, Chef Sumadu has prepared a tuna dish seasoned with silver tips tea.
Tuna dish, we use one of most expensive tea leaves in Sri Lanka. We're calling it a silver tips tea. So we balance it the flavor with a little bit with the mango peel because this is a kind of locally grown fruit. And then we have some fresh vegetable salad to just get the refresh in your mouth.
This tea flavor actually enhances the steely flavor of the tuna at the back. Yeah. It's actually quite fun. I didn't know tea leaves could work so well with food. So tell me about the main.
So this dish came to my mind while I am traveling around through the Bogowantalawa tea plantation to create some dish from this region. So what I was thinking to choose the Bogowantalawa Olongo tea to create a kind of pesto because it is a nice fruity flavor to balance the strong fish flavor. Try the pesto from Bogowantalawa Olongo tea.
So it's a tea leaf pesto.
Pesto, yes.
That's really crazy. Let me try.
It's nice fruity, creamy flavor of the tea.
But also has a little bit of a bitter front end.
Yes.
And then it teases out the flavor of the fish. That's a really different way to enjoy fish. The feast also has other creative dishes, like beef steak marinated with black tea, or this vegetarian option, grilled pumpkin seasoned with cinnamon tea, as Sri Lanka is also the largest producer of cinnamon in the world. Chef Sumadu says 80% of the ingredients are locally sourced to ensure the feast is an authentic Sri Lankan dining experience. It is eye-opening to see how the culture, people, and livelihood of the country are intertwined with one of the oldest beverages in history. So next time you brew a cuppa at home, share a thought for the pluckers, tea masters, and others who made it possible for you to enjoy your relaxing cup of tea.